Don't you know we're just starting? But you sure we got the clue how that this we go. Don't you know no more art? And as you look to the horizon, not a cloud, but then stormy weather's go too cold. Seems like it crept up out of nowhere, all around you is not what you foretold. You never see it coming. You see that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done, but the time is hit you, you're not surprised.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is Dspnews, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. No tagline. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 2019. So happy New Year to all of you. Kind of late New Year, really, but we did put up that post, so I guess theoretically I'm on time. I have a lot to do. I have a lot to go over, and I appreciate those who waited around. As I've told you guys, don't wait. There's plenty of great content out there. Don't wait on me. It's just it's not, you're not doing yourself really any favors. But I'm appreciative nonetheless. To be perfectly honest with you, but I am living up to my motto. So I have a lot to cover and whatnot, and I have a lot of plans and whatnot for a brand new channel that I'm working on, as well as we as a collective have a lot of plans that we need to do here for this channel moving forward. There's a lot to do. And there's no point in rushing in it, because then nothing gets done, or certainly nothing gets done right. So, yeah. Hope you guys are doing well. And let's get into what is the situation at hand. We are here with Mr. Huffstuffs. As you guys know, we spent the last, or basically, well, not the last, but we spent the 12 days of Goutmas with Mr. Huffstuffs. So it's probably only fitting that we start the year off with him. Mr. Huffstuffs, DarkSydePhil, financial woes of 2018. A little bit of backstory. One, or essentially, this is all pulled from Phil's New Year's Eve podcast, which was actually supposed to be the Christmas Eve podcast, which was derailed for 5 or 6 days. Why is that? Well, it's subjective, but keep an open mind. This should be interesting. On the 23rd, which was Phil's holiday video game marathon, which, I mean, there's only like maybe 1 or 2 games that was actually Christmas themed. Everything else was just kind of thrown in. He says that the stream went terribly. The eggnog that he had didn't go well. His 2 beers, maybe 3 beers over the span of 3 hours, that didn't settle well with him. Which, nursing a beer for an hour, I've never heard of that at all. Even for people who are lightweights, with all due respect. No, not at all. So that was interesting. Anyway, he said that his depression kicked in. He shouldn't have been drinking when that happened. He said that he didn't think, he was upset, I should say, that the contributions weren't coming through, the support wasn't being given, this, that, the third. Now, I had said, I think during the 12 days of Goutmas, if not before that if Phil is going to try to play the trump card the same way that happened in 2017, he was going to fail miserably. 2017 worked for Phil because, 1, it was unexpected. 2, he came across, well, if you know Phil, you know he's a bullshitter. But for most people, he came across genuine, and it was a story that, for the most part, we hadn't heard before. 2018's build up or lead up into the actual Begathon itself was poorly planned, poorly executed. It didn't have any bases. The strength of all of it was, cat's tired of the internet, all Tevin's fault, please give me money because I don't want to lose my house. Sounds like the same old song and dance. The Tevin thing was a bit off-putting, but he shouldn't have played that card in October. He should have played that in November. But whatever, you know, he's the successful businessman. He's the one who he's the horse thief. He's the one who's run a successful business for 8 years or whatever the case may be. What do I know? I'm just a cute pup in a sharp suit. What are you gonna do? In any case, it didn't work out. He realized that it wasn't going to work out, and he crumbled, as he's supposed to. So then he had what I'm told a poor excuse for a DSP tries it. That's going to be funny to go over. And then claimed he was sick for about 5 days. Now he's back. At the time of recording this, I'm recording this on the 5th of January. He says that he missed like 5 or 6 days. I think it was like 5 days. He's scared that the bills aren't going to get paid, and he needs people to come through. Yet he was on Twitter flexing pretty much all 4 or 5 days that he was off. It doesn't seem like he was that concerned. So we obviously have a conflict of interest, which leads into the video at hand. So let's go ahead and set up the stage proper. So, and there's our failure. There you go. There you go. And then let's go ahead and throw some of his accolades up there, because that's good. Yep. Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. See that right there? First grade Let's Player, Boyfriend of the Year for 2016-2017, Horse Thief, former pro fighting game player. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And, yeah, that's fitting. That's fitting. Businessman. Excuse me. Ah, yes. All right. All that works out. Now, we're going to get into the video at hand. Ladies and gentlemen. sorry for that dragging on there, but let's go ahead and get to the business at hand, what we're all here for. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys had a great year. I think 2019 should be a great year, not just for us here at GTG Network Productions, but to all of our fellow detractors and obviously all of you in the audience. We wouldn't be here without you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News, always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG Network and Productions. You guys all know the slogan. It's time to watch me work.
I don't bring the negativity. These fucking people who false flagged my YouTube channel, who attack my fucking family members and do all this shit, they're the ones doing it. I have nothing to fucking do with it. I just sit here and play games all day. I don't know who these people are or what the fuck their mental problems are. They have done this to me this year. Okay? By the way, please.
That's funny. He said the same thing last year, too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, yet again, we are here with Mr. Huffstuff's DarkSydePhil Financial Woes of 2018. Here we go.
These mods, if you're here, please start banning these people. There's so many negative people in the stream chat basically say, oh, Phil's a liar, Phil's this. Oh, look, Phil's talking about this on the stream. Even though I said this is one segment of the podcast, these idiots are coming in being negative. Please, mods, take care of this because I can't do it by myself. I can't sit here and talk while doing this, okay? But anyway,
so first things first, how is it, Phil, that you are a professional streamer, you are a full-time streamer, and you can't regulate your own chat? This small little thing that you're obsessed with looking at, day in, day out, you can't seem to get a handle on it. You can't seem to comprehend how to manage it. Kind of like your business, air quotes. While others who are slowly but surely building their audiences, James the Lesser Express Lane, the Jackal's Lair, sorry, sorry about that, Agent Proper of the DIA, Lightside Bill, just to name a few, are doing just fine. And they don't have nearly as many issues watching out for a chat. It's just a chat. I mean, you could do what, any other rational human being would do in your situation and ignore it. You could do that. Your end-all be-all isn't in that chat. But see, there we go into the great mysteries of Phil Burnell, and the mind of Phil Burnell, if you will. Phil's entire self-existence, not entire, a portion of Phil's self-existence is related into the chat. How people feel about him at the very minute, at the very second, he takes to heart. And that's what happens when you're on the internet too goddamn long. That's what happens when you basically sum up all of your self-worth on the internet. And so it's funny how he says, I can't regulate the chat, I can't do this, that, and the third. Yet, as you can see in the picture, or up there in the frame currently, he's looking right at the chat. I'm sorry, Phil. What, click, click, click. Is that difficult? Is that outside the realm? Can your hoof not function today? Can it not do it? Can it not reach the button? Click, click, click. What's the problem? And how is it that It's always the smallest things, whether it's on Twitch, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's in his relationship, whether it's in life, is apparently the most difficult thing for DarkSydePhil. For everybody else, it's something that we do every day. But for Phil, though, it becomes this, it's kind of like a war of attrition in a lot of ways. And he just can't manage it unless someone else is there to hold his little hoof through it. But yet, you're the adult in this situation. There are younger people who watch you on a day-to-day basis and sadly pick up on some of your tendencies. You're going to make them just as useless as you are. I don't know. Well, I think it's a worthy battle to fight in 2019. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, from my personal experience with credit cards, here's how it works. If you have a credit card charge and you contact your credit card company and you dispute the charge, okay, they're going to ask you, why are you disputing it? Now, you have a few things you can say. You can either say, my card was lost or stolen, in which case you have to document and prove it. You can't just say that and then they write it off, okay? Or you can say, well, I didn't authorize that charge. Somehow they got my information. Or you can say, I didn't agree to pay that. I agreed a certain amount and they overcharged me or whatever. Those are basically the three things you can do, okay? The credit card company then does what's called an investigation. They don't just grant you your money back magically, which is apparently what this Tutankhamun guy is telling everyone they did. They didn't. He's a fucking idiot liar. What they do is they launch an investigation that takes weeks. And what they'll do is they'll actually contact, they contact.
All right, Phil, since you need a minute to get your story together, let's go ahead and go through some of the particulars of this. 1, Tutankhamun. You must have quite the hard-on for King Tut, Phil. Not just the fact that you missed the consistent money, I'm sure that's one of the things, but also you consistently trying to tear him down. And more so than even Tevin, to be honest with you. If I was Tevin, I would feel a lot like Pusha T, and I want all the hate. But Tevin's a generous man. Praise be almighty. So I can see why he doesn't mind sharing that. With that being said, why are you going at Tut so hard if you won? I want you to think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say that I'm in a boxing match with somebody. And, I don't know, Swaggins. He can catch his hands. Let's say Swaggins. And, you know, me and Swaggins talk all this shit for months leading up to it, and then all of a sudden we fight that shit out. And I lose. Hands down. But even though I've lost, I'm cheered on my way out. And everybody kind of just looks at Swaggins and gets pissed off and shit. And they may boo him a little bit. Maybe they throw a couple of bottles at him or whatever the case may be. Swaggins cries like a little bitch and then he runs out. At the end of the day, Swaggins, for example, Swaggins won. What are you upset about? You won. Two of us walked into the ring. One of us got beat. Take your L and you move with it. That's what I did. But yet, even in a winning position, you still want to bitch and complain about it. And then you decide to go ahead and move off that for weeks at a time, if not months at a time. You continue to harp on it even though you've already won. That's my example. Let's jump back to Phil. So Phil allegedly won this case against Tut between, over $1,000 in supposed chargebacks. Now, it works three ways. 1, devil's advocate, Phil actually won the situation. 2, Tut won. Or 3, they both won. Now, let's go with the first one first. The first situation first. Phil ends up winning the case. He ends up going to PayPal. He sucks them off as he usually does, and they awarded it to him. That's Phil's story, so you might as well go ahead and I might as well present it to you as such. Second story is what Tut said. Tut says he ends up going through his credit card company. He ends up getting it worked out. He walked away with his money. Phil ended up not having anything, hence the reason why Phil's desperation, his bitching, his complaining, and his crying about money. And then we all move on top of that, or with that, with a nice chuckle. Number 2 sounds plausible. Or number 3. Both credit card companies, whether I'll say MasterCard for Tut and then PayPal for Phil, decide to split the difference. Theoretically, on Phil's end of it, he has a history of people trying to do chargebacks. PayPal could have easily looked at that and been like, all right, well, Phil seems to get Mr. Brunel, because they wouldn't refer to him as Phil. Mr. Brunel seems to have a history of this. It's very possible that's what the situation is. What's $1,000? Fine. Let's just award it to him. Let's just move it on. Let's go ahead and close that case and move forward. On Tut's end, with MasterCard, they're like, well, you have your card in good standings. If you said this is what the situation is, we're not going to lose our business with you to side with this guy. So we'll write it off. You get your money back and everybody moves. Those are your three scenarios. But for Phil, the psychological anguish of the minuscule thought that Tut won over him, Phil can't live with. Now, whether Phil is lying or not, I couldn't tell you. It's fair to say that Phil lies about 98% of everything he says. And even the 2% that he's not lying, some of it probably is a lie. But in any case, Phil needs this to win. He needs this win over Tut. The reason why is because if not, this right here is going to be written into the annals of him screwing people on PayPal, him lying about doing 7-hour marathons and he really didn't. It'll be false promise after false promise after false promise. And Phil will never live it down. That's why he needs this so bad. He needs people to believe that Tut's lying and that he actually won. Here's the problem, Phil. Your whole existence, at least on YouTube for the most part, you never did anything wrong. You did everything right. You won against all of the opposition that ever came in front of you. It's not humanly possible. Your ability to survive certain situations even baffles me. It baffles Mr. Medicare. I call it the devil's luck, but for whatever it is, you seem to be able to basically skew on by, smelling like shit, but you seem to skew on by. But there's no way you've won every battle you've come up with. It's not plausible. Not everybody who's been in a fight has won every fight. Except for Floyd. But even then, Floyd's won fights has lost some fights outside the ring. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. If you ever watched the documentary on a documentary on his upbringing, his dad gave him the business. Anyway, not that needs to be glorified, but every person has taken an L in some way, shape, or form. You can't say I've won every dispute or battle or whatever the case may be, and expect people to believe you. And the way you hold on to this King Tut thing, it gives doubt. If you had let it go and said, I won, this is why I won, and never spoke about it anymore, no one would even think about it. So it wouldn't even matter if he really beat you or not. You don't talk about it no more, because it don't mean nothing. But see, you harping on it, though, leads me to believe that Tut won. Or, at the very least, you guys split the difference, which makes it even worse for him, ladies and gentlemen. Let me explain. If option 3 is correct, and they both split the difference, Phil still loses. Because now Phil knows that if a detractor spends 2 months, or a hater or a troll spends 2 months leading him on, even if Phil gets the money, that detractor gets their money back. Which is just another notch in the belt for everybody on this side. And Phil can't live with that. Even though Phil has his money, Phil can't live with that. He can't live with the fact of knowing that these guys got over on him. Makes you wonder who's really the mentally ill idiot around here. Just saying. When he can't even take the W and just move with it. He himself is turning it into an L. He's turning it into a loss. He's turning it into a disadvantage. And for what? What benefit does that have? What's the hidden advantage in that? I don't see it. If it's sympathy, it's not working. You're running low on that as it is. So there's a situation with that. As it pertains to the credit card situation, yeah? So either your credit card was lost or stolen, someone got your information, or you were mischarged. If your credit card is lost or stolen, depending on... Well, first off, you should report that shit almost immediately. And from the time that you reported your card lost or stolen to the time that the first charge came through is kind of like your window of opportunity. Let me give you an example. It's Monday. It's Monday at 9 a.m., let's say. I misplaced my credit card. I don't know where it's at. I spent, like most people, I'm going to spend a little bit of time looking for it. So 9 a.m., the credit card, I knows my credit card went up missing. 10:30, 11 o'clock, $3,000 at some store and shit that I don't know nothing about in some state that I don't even live in ends up getting racked up. Okay. after a little bit of time, I'm just going to go ahead and just call. So basically what I do is I just call the credit card company. Hey, I misplaced my credit card, yada, yada, yada. And they're like, okay, well, we have this charge right here recently. What's that? Oh, that wasn't me. Because I've been looking for my card for the last couple hours and I just can't find it. And whatnot. Now, theoretically, I guess most people would say your first thought is if you can't find your credit card and you're pretty careful about stuff like that, immediately report it as lost or stolen and then go ahead and immediately start looking for it. This way, in the period of time between you reporting it and you hopefully finding it, if any charges occur, you know that you know it's not you because you've already reported it. The credit card company is already aware. Most people aren't going to do that because, let's be honest, most people's information as it pertains to that credit card is on the back of the credit card. Their actual credit card information itself is in a lockbox or in a mini safe or however you decide to store your credit card information. So there's your first problem, essentially. So the sooner you can report it, the better and whatnot. And either which way, if they find it, then they can just go ahead, deactivate that, and you're fine. If you can't find it, they're going to have to go ahead and give you your money back once they prove that, it wasn't you. That's not hard to prove. And then they have to assign you a whole new credit card number anyway. That account has been compromised. That needs to be eliminated. And then they just reestablish you a new one. Now, let's look at the other side of that very coin. So you realize Monday, you realize your credit card is missing that morning. Next thing you know, Tuesday let's say Thursday. Thursday, all of a sudden, all these charges come up. But you haven't reported the credit card yet because you're thinking, oh, I may have misplaced it in my car or it's in one of my pants pockets. Or I'll find it whenever I find it. Then you have a bit more of a situation on you. The task has become a bit more difficult to prove, what the circumstances are. So that's neither here nor there. But that's how scenario 1 works. Scenario 2, your information gets leaked. We live in a day and age where everybody's information is getting leaked in some way, shape, or form. All you have to do is call the credit card company and be like, well, you go and check your balance one day. You realize you didn't do that. You call the credit card company. Hey, somehow I got exposed, but I have my credit card on me. I didn't make these charges. Okay, no problem. That's happened to me and whatnot. My credit card, I don't know how it happened, but I don't know. I may have gone to a certain coffee shop or whatever. Someone caught me slipping. It is what it was. When I got my statement the following month, I looked. I had 3 charges that weren't me and whatnot for small amounts, as most credit card scams work. I'll explain that at a later time if anybody wants to know. 2 small charges, then 1 big charge. I called. I let them know what this was. They looked. Okay, no problem. 24 hours later, I got all my shit back. And they went ahead and was like, hey, we're going to get you, we have to eliminate that account. We'll transfer you over. I had a new card in 48 hours. There you go. So that's how that circumstance would work. I don't know about that whole week or weeks type shit. I don't know why Phil believes that the world works that slow, but whatever. Then again, that could be situational. And then number 3, you were mischarged for something. Phil, and ladies and gentlemen, that's why we have receipts. Period. So the concept of you being mischarged for something is very unlikely. Not to say it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely outside of someone yet again trying to get over on you. Like, for example, if I go to Best Buy and I buy, I don't know, let's say, they haven't done this in a long ass time actually, but Best Buy used to do this deal where you could get like a big screen TV, an entertainment center, a game console with a couple of games, and you could get like a laptop or some shit, and it'd be for like $2,000, or it might be like $1,500 or whatever the case may be. They used to bundle them up for the holidays. Okay, if you go in and you purchase all of that, then that's what you get. They can't bill you for anything additional because that's what you paid for. You know what I'm saying? They rung you up for all of it. That's what you were charged for. The chances of you being mischarged is very, very low. Not to say it can't happen, and it can happen for a bunch of different things. Amazon was accused of doing that a couple of years ago. Even then, you can still dispute that shit. Anything that pertains to your credit card can be disputed. Don't let someone like Phil discourage you and think, oh, because it didn't work for him, it couldn't work for somebody else. Phil isn't diligent. Phil doesn't have enough give. He doesn't have enough oomph. He doesn't have enough heart to fight for what he needs to fight for. If he feels that it's not worth his time or he can't get over, he won't do it, which is a terrible way to live life. But that's the reason why he's locked up in his ivory tower of a house that he can barely pay for. Just my opinion, though. DSP News.
The retailer or company or whoever the hell that payment's with and get information from them. Well, what was this for? Do you have receipts? Do you have evidence of anything? Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. When I first moved here, I bought a bunch of furniture for the house. The salesman who sold me the furniture lied to me and told me it was going to be a total price for all the furniture. I signed a receipt saying that's what it was. He billed me for it on my credit card. Then 3 months later, I received another bill for another piece of furniture that I had had delivered in the meantime, but he had told me I'd already paid for it when in reality I didn't. I contacted my credit card company and said, I don't want to pay it. They did the research and said, well, legitimately, did you accept the furniture? I said, yes, I did, but I never agreed to pay it. They said, well, since you accepted the furniture, you basically have to pay for it. If you don't agree on the price, you got to go argue with that company. So I would have had to go back to the store and basically argue with the store manager that the salesman did a terrible job, probably get the guy fired in order to get my money back for that piece of furniture. So I didn't bother with it at the time. I mean, at that point, it was what? 4.5 years ago. I wasn't going to go get into a giant fucking argument in the middle of a store with no guarantee of any kind of a payback for it, okay? But in general...
Okay, so let's look at that story again. So he gets to Connecticut. If any of you guys have seen Almighty Tevin's Back in Time, he actually went through all that. So this whole story is actually kind of new because I don't remember hearing Phil bring that up at all through that playlist. So this is brand new. All right, so Phil goes to Connecticut, buys a shitload of furniture. The salesman tells him for all of this furniture, it's going to cost this. That's what Phil signs on the receipt. What the salesman tells him is what's on his receipt because that's why Phil signed that receipt. Okay, fair enough. He says 3 months later, he gets billed for another piece of furniture while he was getting another piece of furniture delivered to him in the meantime. Let's think about that one more time because I could be wrong. He gets all this furniture. He buys all this furniture, signs off on it. The salesman tells him this. He agrees with it. He signs off on it. 3 months later, he gets another piece of furniture delivered, and in the meantime, and he is billed for something and then he's billed additionally for something that he didn't agree to pay for. So either A, that piece of furniture, that new piece of furniture he had ordered 3 months ago. Sorry, let's reword that. The piece of furniture that he ended up having delivered 3 months ago, that's what the bill was that came with it. Or B, Phil lied. It doesn't make any sense because to add on to that scenario, Phil, when they dropped all the furniture off to Phil, they had to have been missing a piece. Like there was something that they didn't have in stock or whatever the case may be. Most furniture stores do that. Like if you've ever been to a furniture store, you guys know it. Very few places you'll actually buy it and you take it with you. They'll just have it delivered to you. And obviously you know how Phil is. He ain't going to lift shit because his bad back, allegedly. And he has to have a hand cart just to take 50 pounds, 75 pounds of stuff upstairs. You know damn well he ain't lifting a chair or nothing. So obviously, he went ahead, they either didn't have a particular piece in stock at that time, but he already agreed to pay for it because it was already part of his package, or B, there was another piece of furniture that he had delivered that was separate from the original order, and that's what he was billed for. And what Phil tried to do is kid over on them saying, well, wait a second, this piece of furniture that I ordered, you guys owed it to me. And that's the reason why I've been waiting on it. Why is there a bill separate for that? I don't know. We'll have to look into that. It's how Phil words stuff, but that's my general thoughts. My general thoughts are is he ordered another piece, separate from what his original purchase was, and then tried to get over on them and say that, hey, I didn't order this. But he went through his credit card company instead of calling the store directly because he knew the store was going to shit on him. So he tried to go through his credit card company instead. And the reason why Phil would do that, because Phil probably had to wait. And Phil hates waiting. Phil hates waiting. So he thought, oh, well, I'm going to get them because they made us wait. I shouldn't have to pay for this. That sounds more like Phil's MO. All right, well, let's continue. DSP News.
Credit card company research, we're not going to give you your money back. There's no fraud here. With no evidence, a credit card company will never give you your money back. Now, I'll give you an example of a time when I did get my money back. I'd gone on a trip. It was one of those conventions that I had gone to with John Rambo. And when I was in the airport, I'd use my credit card to swipe and prove my identity to get my boarding pass to print out at the airport. When I got back home from this trip 2 weeks later, there were charges in Florida while I was in Connecticut. So I was at a store in Connecticut buying food, and then the same day, someone in Florida charged to the same card a resort fee because they were at a hotel. Huh? How's that? How could I be in Connecticut and Florida at the same time? So I called my credit card company and said, this obviously isn't me. Okay, that is concrete evidence. We're going to give you your money back. And they gave it to me. Okay? Basically, financially, the reason why I'm screwed is because I couldn't pay down my debt this year. I was hoping that I could pay down my debt and...
No, wait a second. Real quick, as it pertains to the resort charge, right? They wouldn't... You don't actually get billed on your credit card until after you check out, yeah? So... I'll give him that one. I'll give him that one. Because I want to tell you that, let's say there was a tournament in Florida and whatnot, because he's been to a couple different tournaments back in his day, all on credit card, because cash is something that's in low supply in the Burnell house. If he flew out of Florida Friday morning, let's say, and then he decided to go grocery shopping when he got home, because obviously there's no food in the house, because obviously Phil don't cook, which would make sense, then the charges would pop up when he went to go and get groceries, because even when they go ahead and swipe your card for you to sign off on your room, the charges wouldn't hit you right away. It would be a couple hours, depending on the card though, and depending on how they bill you at the resort. Anyway, just a random thought.
Slowly make it go down, and then eventually I could refinance my house. All right, there's a few things going on right now in the American economy that many of you won't understand, especially if you don't live in the USA. Basically, the economy is fucked again. Even though everyone says it's good, it's not. The Fed, which is the Federal Reserve, this is the governing body that controls a lot of things with the finances of our country, has raised interest rates 3 or more times. I haven't even updated, but I know at least 3 times in the last fucking year. So that means any debt that I have, for example, credit card debt or a loan that may be an adjustable rate loan, all went up. So even though I'm paying down, interest rate goes up, I owe more. And now my payments, I'm not even kidding you, on all my credit card debt this year, last year, 2017, by the end of the year, I had it under control. I could afford all of it on a monthly basis. I was doing my payments. I could afford everything. No problems. I didn't have any overdrafts. Everything was good. Then all of a sudden 2018 hits. Oh, your credit card payments are doubling. Huh? Why?
Well, first off, it's funny how he complained about overdrafts all year, but he never said that any of the overdrafts were on his credit card. He said they were all at his bank. So just keep that in mind. All right, so that whole interest rates going up 3 or 4 times, that's kind of new to me. None of my credit cards have gone up at all and whatnot. Also, though, fun fact that you can actually call your credit card company like periodically. And what I mean that, I was saying you could do it every like 6 months, maybe every 9 months, I guess, depending on how good your standings are, and ask to have your credit card interest rates lowered. But we can talk about that at another time. I'm sure most people know that already. Especially if your card are in good standings. For Phil saying that all of his credit cards doubled, right? I'm going to automatically tell you that he must have had 0 interest on all of those things. And he's coming at the end of his introductory period. Now he's starting to get hit with, I don't know, what's the, actually, you know what? I actually found a couple of these. Oh, let's see here. Okay. All right. So for this situation, I actually came prepared. Okay. So a rare occasion. Okay. So the argument that I'm going to propose is that all of his 0 introductory rates or APRs expired, and that's how everything allegedly doubled on him. But see, it didn't double out of nowhere. It's not like the federal government fucked him, because when he signed up for the credit card, which had that special for the 0 interest, he knew what the interest was going to be because it was stated on the agreement. They're not going to just change it on him like that as soon as the period of the introductory period ends. They're not going to just change it on him and be like, oh, well, you signed up, Phil, for, let's see, which one do I have here? One here I have says 13.49%. I doubt Phil was able to get that because his credit definitely isn't that good. But they weren't going to offer him that. It wasn't like, oh, well, you were offered 13.9%. Now we're going to bump it up to 20. Damn, that'd be 26%. They're not going to do that. All of his introductory periods expired, and then bam, all that came through. Now, when he says things like this, right, it makes me think, actually, what are the interest rates on these real quick, just to let you guys know? So the lowest one I have is a 13.49. The next one is 11.99, and then this one here is 9.99. But none of these have cashback rewards, though. Yep, all this is getting shredded then. All right, anyway, sorry guys. I'm greedy. I like cash back. Anyway, or at least frequent flyer miles. Anyway, so there we go on that. Now, the point of all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is this tells me that he knows his audience are full of kids, because adults, or having a much older fan base, or for me it'd be an audience, they know this. They know better. But Phil has to explain this to children because children wouldn't understand this, or those who don't have any experience in any of this yet. So it's funny how Phil keeps saying, I don't have any children in my audience, or not the majority of them, but yet you're explaining this. And what you're doing is you're giving them a false understanding of how the financial world works. So when they step into that one day, they're going to be all fucked up because they ain't sat there and listened to DarkSydePhil for the last 5 goddamn years. While he's trying to fight these alleged taxes when really he's living high off the hog, no pun intended. Let's continue.
Oh, because the Fed raised the interest rate 3 times in the last year, so we have to adjust for that, and we expect that they're going to do it again. So all your credit card payments are now doubled. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, you know, exaggerating or like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. I have a lot of credit card debt, and my debts on a monthly basis went from this much of how much I pay a month to this much. So
what are you doing? Are you paying just minimum monthly payments and that's it? If you're not paying over the balance, then you were never going to pay those damn things off. And you're missing the general point of why you get credit card companies give you a zero APR for a select amount of months. They do that so you can consolidate what your debt is and pay down as much of it as you can within the 12, 16, 20 months, 24 months if you can find it, period. You, Phil, it sounds like, and I'm just going to guess, it sounds to me that you hop from card to card to card, paying the bare minimum or the minimum monthly payments each month, and you got fucked. That's what it sounds like to me. That's exactly what that sounds like. So now, Phil, we have a bit of a problem, because I'm hearing this nonsense about, oh, I accidentally paid a credit card bill twice. Or, I'm sorry, you accidentally paid a bill twice. Oh, you were so stressed out. Oh, you were so depressed. Oh, you were so exhausted that you end up paying a bill twice. Yet, Almighty Tevin, praise be Almighty, has gone over videos which you sitting there saying that, oh, after I make all my monthly payments, if I have a little bit of money left, I'll just dump it into another credit card. I'll just pay as much as I can off on another credit card. What that tells me, Phil, is you sat there and what that tells me is you made a double payment on a credit card because you knew the APR was going to expire on it. And you wanted to try to get as much of that balance paid down as possible before those interest rates came back on you. I can't say for certain that's what the case is, but if I had to guess, that's what happened. But we'll see. We'll see if I'm right.
It was hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month that I was using to do things like pay my taxes that I don't have anymore because they doubled my payments because the interest rates went up on everything. Okay? It completely fucked me over. The only people who this benefits are people who have a ton of money in savings, which is no one. No one in America has a lot of money in savings besides the fucking rich. Everyone else has gotten fucked over by having interest rates go up. So
what? If that's the case, then why aren't more people bitching about this, Phil? I'm just saying. And this comes from someone who actually looks at the Wall Street Journal. So how is this not a super outrage and whatnot? Why isn't there just, I'm not saying there's going to be full-blown rebellion and shit or like what's going on in France, but why aren't there more people bringing this up? Why is it DarkSydePhil, a Let's Player who hasn't had a job in 8 fucking years, who, like I said, I'm thinking that you jump from card to card to card and whatnot, is got stuck in this situation. It sounds to me like poor money management. It sounds to me like a grown-ass man who's incompetent and didn't know how to use his money properly. That's what it kind of sounds like. Like, it's funny how you get these large sums of money in each month and you can't figure out how to budget properly. But then, Phil, you said that it takes you 4 hours to pay bills. Either A, you're exaggerating, B, it's a lie, or C, you don't know what you're doing. Or D, all of the above. I don't know. DSP News.
I got screwed. I got totally screwed. In addition, you know, there were things that I did over the years that I was hoping I wouldn't be in the financial position I'm in right now. So I'll give you an example. Years ago, I racked up my credit cards when I first moved out here to furnish the house. And then, as you guys know, so many things happened over the years with trolling in 2015, the adpocalypse last year. I basically had to keep racking up my fucking credit cards, which I didn't want to do. But what I would do is I would use the credit card that has like the promotional rate of 0% for a year and a half. Then when that expired, I would transfer it to another credit card that had a promotional rate for a year and a half. Well, guess what? In 2018, all the...
Guess what? You're an idiot and I got you, bitch. I got you. I knew it. Now, first off, Phil, why would you do something stupid like that? Because basically what you're saying is you couldn't make your bills, so you kept applying for new credit cards, which is what ends up causing people to go bankrupt. Which means, Phil, it sounds like you're laying down the fucking foundation to lose that house. That's the first thing. Second thing, this is what happens, Phil, when idiots like you, right? When idiots like you snort, sit there and expect to make the same amount of money month in, month out, year in, year out. It's ridiculous. Especially in a volatile market that you're in. Which, calling it volatile gives you credit, but really what it is, it's a competitive market. And those who work hard gain the spoils, sometimes. But you don't work hard. You don't do anything. You do the bare fucking minimum, your typical slug, and you expect to be paid what the big guys get. And when you don't make that, you start to panic. It's an even flow. Phil Burnell is a creature of habit, and he does this year in, year out. It never changes. So you're the one who did that because those were miscalculations on your part. And because you couldn't adjust, you couldn't adapt. And because you couldn't adapt, you had to go ahead and go through other financial means to compensate you. And what that ended up doing is getting you into the situation that you're in right now. Now, the general thought is that you will stabilize throughout 2019, which is probably possible. 2020, you're hoping, probably 2021, you're hoping to refinance and whatnot. I guarantee you this, Phil, you refinance, you're fucked. Because your business, air quotes, your viewership, all that bullshit is still in a decline. Period. Whoever Emerald 7 is, whoever the new King Tut's going to be, whoever the new whale is going to be, they're not going to be able to save you forever. And the little fan base that you have here, that you're trying to squeeze the last bit of lifeblood out of them, they're not budging. They're not budging. So you can keep blaming Tut for those 2 months, and that's why no one wanted to give you money. But in truth, it's very possible people are just like, either A, they don't have it, B, they can't steal it from mom and dad, they can't give up, they can't take anything from grandma and grandpa yet, or maybe they just don't feel the need to give you money anymore. Maybe they're looking at you and being like, you're a grown man, why can't you take more responsibility? You want to play video games and get paid for it. That's what you want. But now, Phil, you're getting to the point where you need to do what you need to do. Just saying.
Promotional rates ran out. So the credit cards that I was paying 0% interest on now went to 15% interest, and my credit card payment doubled again. So not only did the feds raise the interest rate, all my interest went up again, compounded. So I was at a good level, but because people will not stop fucking with me, All right. They fuck over my opportunities for sponsorship. They fuck over my YouTube channel and my YouTube ad revenue. They try to fuck me on Twitch and get me banned. They try to fuck me every which way possible. I keep losing money, and because of that,
keep those fantasies and stuff being inserted into yourself, please. First things first. One, those sponsorship deals weren't going to help you. Those are all short-term solutions yet again. Let's be honest, Phil. The sponsorship as it pertains to Twitch, as it pertains to you playing these games and you bring in viewership. Whether Tevin was streaming, restreaming you, James the Lesser, DarkSydePhil, or they have an actual dedicated channel now. I can't even know. I'm actually subscribed to that YouTube channel that goes ahead and broadcasts you. No matter what, if all four of those individuals, well, entities, let's say that, entities decided not to restream you, you weren't going to bring in any more than maybe 200, 300, maybe 400 viewers, period. That's how that was going to eventually work. On top of that, you were definitely going to catch trolling on that shit, because either A, you're going to play a game that you're inexperienced in, and you were going to get clowned for it because you're going to play it bad, because, let's be honest, you're DarkSydePhil. You play games bad. Or two, you're going to play a game that you shitted on the week before, and there are clips of that everywhere. And people were going to send that to the publisher and be like, hey, do you know that you got this guy named DarkSydePhil that's playing your game right now? And he's sitting here kissing its ass and sucking his dick and doing everything that, Phil says that he doesn't do. But the week before, this is what he said. And I have a couple more clips to send you if you want some more. I don't know, Phil. It kind of makes you look like a hypocrite. It kind of makes you look like a shill. That same thing that you call those people on Twitter. So you kind of fucked yourself there on Twitch. Let's be honest. Let's talk about the OP seats and spawn seats. I can't remember which one was the con. I think the spawn seats was the con, and I think OP seats was the real shit. It might have been the other way around. Sorry about that. That was just so 2018. I can't remember which was which. But let's be honest, Phil. You weren't going to move no chairs. You weren't going to move any chairs. If you're going to really make money doing a sponsorship like 1UP Box, any type of seating, any type of game membership or whatever, you need, on a consistent basis, I'd say, to be fair, between 15 and 30 people that are purchasing from you each month. It is what it is. But see, Phil, how would you be giving your audience the opportunity to do that? Yeah, if they have to tip, sub, give bits, go to Teespring, how are they going to end up doing all of that plus buying chairs from you, or buying 1UP boxes from you, or signing up for this service and that service? How was you having these sponsorship deals really going to help you? You don't even see it. You've stretched these people so thin that you believe that they have money, that money grows on trees, and they would just be able to supply all these different avenues that you have. Your Teespring's a joke, first off. If it's not just the fact that the designs are but how are they going to buy it when those same people are throwing you $30, $40 on a stream over the span of a day or maybe even a couple of days? So there you go on that. And you're the one who says, if you guys really want to help me right now, above everything else, you should tip me. So that's what they do. So if they tip you, they're not going to have the money to buy a Teespring. So then you expect them to go ahead and get a fucking $200 chair that's not worth more than $50? How is that going to work? You planned poorly. None of that was going to pay off for you. None of that was going to work out well. You didn't see it because you didn't want to see it, or you're just incompetent. Probably a little bit of both. No one screwed you over, Phil. You failed yourself. You still complaining about some shit that happened to you 3 years ago? Don't get me wrong, Phil. I had some shortcomings 3 years ago, too. You can't let it hold on to you like that, though. Especially financially. You're the one who dared these people to come after you. So they did. And you suffer the consequences for it. This isn't hard to figure out. And yet again, it shows a lack of flexibility on your part. Not just physically, but mentally. That you can't adjust to when something happens. When a hiccup happens to Phil Burnell, it's the end of the world. Oh, when someone leaves a negative comment, it's terrorism. Or it's whatever else you want to throw out there. He can never adjust to any type of situation. At all. And that's why he holds on to that shit. King Tut's the example. That's the best example that I have right now. Let's continue.
I can't keep up with all the obligations that I have. All right. Now, some people have said some of the most asinine, stupid shit in 2018, like, why don't you just get another job? Man, people are fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I know some people are just trying to help, but sometimes people are just really fucking stupid. I just explained to everyone, this year I made the most money, streaming that I ever had. Things are on the up. I'm making good money streaming. The problem isn't I'm not making good money. The problem is my debt has actually grown exorbitantly because of interest rates.
Wait, didn't you just say that the haters, the trolls, and detractors fucked you up and fucked all your opportunities and whatnot? Now you're saying you're making the most money on Twitch, but now it's your financial obligations is what's holding you back? But those financial obligations are your fault because you don't know how to manage your money right. So there's something not right here. It's almost like you don't want to disclose exactly what you make because you're afraid people aren't going to continue to support you. Like, these people are going to just follow the little breadcrumbs that you leave for them forever. Eventually, Phil, and I say this with all due respect, which is very little that I have for you, eventually we're going to figure out exactly what you make. We're pretty close. Every year that Secret Life, Eddie B43, the guys on Kiwi Farms, the guys on the locale sites, they all sit there, the guys on Reddit, they all, each year they come closer and closer and closer to figure out what you have. You can sit there and lie to the fan base all you want, but it's very obvious you're making six figures. You've been doing that for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, you keep blowing it. I mean, this idiot was making six figures on YouTube, which Wings was making that. He was making six figures plus. His own peoples admitted that because Wings has a big ass mouth. So you know DSP was doing that. DSP was probably making more than that. Now, he's not making that now. That's obvious he's not making that now. But he's probably pulling pretty close on Twitch. And then with YouTube, I don't know what he's going to make, but it'll be over 100,000 mark. It should be over 100,000 mark. So yet again, ladies and gentlemen, how does a man who's making $100,000 a year not be able to fulfill his obligations and still not be able to save? It sounds to me, just like what I told you guys during the 12 Days of Goutmas, that he is so accustomed to a particular lifestyle that he can't give that lifestyle up. And the more money you give him, the more the money is going to go to waste because he doesn't know how to manage his money. He doesn't know how to basically get control of his compulsion. And as long as he feels like he needs to live a certain type of way and things need to be a certain type of way, he's not going to give it up. That's what it comes down to. He can keep blaming detractors, trolls, and all that bullshit all he wants. But really, he's accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle and he wants to spend the way he wants to spend. Actually, didn't he say for Christmas he's not saying what he bought Cat? But to keep Cat there, to keep this arrangement going, he had to go up out of his way. If it was humble gifts, like what did Cat give him? A tearaway calendar and a razor, like an electric razor, some shit. Maybe $100 for all that, maybe, depending on the quality of his electric razor. But he won't say anything that Cat got, or that anything that Cat was given, I should say. And why? Is it because of the amount of money that was spent on it? Are you afraid that people are going to backtrack and find out what it was? You know, like that $250 fan that you allegedly have? It's funny that Phil's quick to ask for all this money, but then he's quick to hide what he does with that money. Doesn't seem very transparent. Doesn't seem very honest. Just my opinion, though. DSP News.
An expiring promotional rate. So if I get another job outside of this and I stream less, I will make less money streaming and make money on a job that will not pay as much as the streaming. So I would make less money. How does that help me? And the answer is it doesn't. It's stupidity. It's the dumbest suggestion you could possibly have. Okay? Now, some people have said, why don't you just sell your house? You know, and, you know, it's a combination of reasons why I don't want to do that. The first is because, as I just told you guys, this year I really built an amazingly positive life with Kat here. We love this house. This is all we ever want. We don't want anything more than this. We don't want anything bigger than what we have right now. If we can just keep what we have for the rest of our lives, we'd be fucking happy. I'm not even kidding. We'd be happy. And the fact of the matter is, if I had to sell this house, number one...
I'm sorry. I had to check something on Twitter real fast. Okay, so getting a job is just stupidity, and it's never going to work because ladies and gentlemen, Phil Burnell couldn't get a part-time job and do what he's doing currently, and he couldn't do both and still be making the same amount of money. He couldn't. Like, if he leaves his house for 6 hours, right? It would completely screw the business over, and he would no longer be making what he's making. Even though he's had days where he streamed and made less than $50, and I doubt he made very much more just in ads. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there is a new policy being implemented through Twitch that you can't avoid ads now. Like ad block, none of that bullshit works anymore. Now, if an ad pops up, you got to eat it. So that will help Phil quite a bit, I would think, depending on how good his ads are. But then let's be honest, he's not getting the same ads as a Shroud, a Dr. Disrespect, a Tim the Tat Man, a Ninja. He's not catching those type of, what's that dude's name? Destiny. He's not making that. He's not getting those type of ads. For sure he's not. So he's going to be on the lower spectrum anyway. Yet again, it goes to show that his lack of hard work is what really hurts him. So getting a job, though, it's erroneous. It's not possible. You guys are fucking morons for even recommending it. This is what he's saying to his fan base. People who are trying to give him suggestions. It sounds similar to what he said when the machinima thing fell apart. As you guys know, we'll do that in the Gout and Wine coming up. And that emergency video. We definitely need to do that, because that shit's going to be amazing. Let's continue.
I don't have the money to do it, because I would need money to clean up the house, redo the certain rooms to get it ready, put it on the market, have it sit there. I wouldn't be able to stream as much because if people want to come in for open houses or whatever, right? The house has to be available to be shown. It's basically...
what? You're making some really bullshit excuses. First things first, as it pertains to the open houses, you're the one who plans for those. So it's really done on your schedule and whatnot. Or there's an accommodation, I should say, on both parties when an open house happens. You do have control over that. Secondly, and as I've been a proponent of, maybe, just maybe, if you stream less, maybe you would get more support. You sitting there saying that, I stream 5 or 6 days a week and what I do is hard work. It ain't shit. That's why you're falling asleep during certain games on your streams. That's why there's only the same 5 or 6 people in the chat and no one else is interacting, even though you have a couple hundred people watching you. Maybe, just maybe, if you only stream maybe 3 or 4 days a week, maybe you would get more out of it. And that opens up the opportunity for you to get a part-time job. Or maybe try to focus back on YouTube. Do some editing content. Because, as you said, Phil, edited content is easy. It's much easier to edit than it is to actually live stream. So maybe if you only stream 3 or 4 days, you can spend 2 days editing. Couldn't hurt. Maybe, just maybe, those 2 days, Kat could go on and start streaming. Maybe get back to what she was doing. As Tevin had pointed out, she bought an Elgato or she bought some type of capture card because she wanted to stream. And then, for whatever reason, she decided to give all that up for you. Just saying. When you're going on stream and you're pulling wing numbers where you have, wings will have like 500 people and make less than $30, there might be a problem. $30 and 2 subs, that might be a problem. I don't know.
Hinder everything. I would make less money because I wouldn't be able to work as much trying to sell the house, and I would have to somehow find a way to finance to get this house cleaned up so that I could sell it, which I don't have the money for. Okay.
Okay, so let's get this straight then. So you brought Kat over to cook and clean. I'm sorry, I mean she's your soulmate. whatever. She's just soul made. All right, so you brought her over to cook and clean, but the house is basically a trough. It's a travesty. It's filthy. It's dirty. It's certainly filthy and dirty enough that you're not willing to show it to potential buyers. And then on top of whatever potential damage that the house has occurred over the amount of time you've lived there that you've been putting off year after year after year. So the house is not in good standings that you're trying so hard to keep, which is interesting in its own right. Kat's is not living up to her obligation. You guys are getting Swanson meals to cook, so you're basically not even cooking, you're just heating it up. She's not cleaning. You're damn sure not cleaning because you didn't learn how to use your washer until a couple months after Panda left. Imagine that. Imagine that. You don't have the money for showings or to do any cleaning or detailing or anything of the sort, even though, especially in the Seattle area, there are professional maid services he can call, and for like $80, they'll literally clean the house from top to bottom. He does that for a couple of weeks leading up into, and that's not just in Seattle, it's anywhere, but, well, almost anywhere. But he could do that a couple of weeks leading up into the showtime, and he would be in a better condition. Like, how are you so incompetent? How did you leave your parents' house? Like, who gave you the authority or the permission to leave home? It's very obvious that you're unprepared for the real world. More so than most. And it just goes to show that this is what happens when you give a nitwit not only an outlet, but you give him a bunch of money to do nothing. It's funny, Phil, how you ended up becoming nothing. Oh well. DSP News.
Number two, I would then have to find a place out here, basically an apartment, where I could do this work. I could get just as good internet as I have here, which I don't know if I'd be able to. I could do this work, this full-time streaming from there. Remember all the problems I had back in Connecticut when I used to do this as a job? And you see what I mean? Like, you see all the internet issues I used to have, and that wasn't when I was a full-time streamer. That was, if the streaming didn't work, oh well, I'll just do videos for YouTube. I can't do that anymore. I have to be streaming every day to make a living. So I have to do it in an apartment complex. You can't do that because it's shared internet from everyone in the apartment complex. I know because I used to do it in Connecticut.
What? First off, in Connecticut, you got a condo. First, shared internet. How does that work? Huh? How's it shared internet? Like, if you're what? No, that can't be right. All right, first things first, because I used to live in an apartment. I have peoples who live in an apartment. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I've never heard about them sharing internet because they all have individual internet bills. How the fuck are you sharing internet, dude? Most people don't even have the same internet service even in their apartment. I didn't. I had a service. My neighbor had a different service. The neighbors across from us had a different service. None of us had the same. And you want to know how I know that, Phil? Because I used to talk to my neighbors. I like talking to people. You don't know nothing about that. You got your neighbors across the street that just moved in, and you're scared to go out there and talk to them. Either A, they're not of a color that you feel comfortable speaking with, or B, they were pretty intimidating, and you don't want a cat to get scooped up, as if Jim isn't one to share. Don't know which one, but we'll find out soon enough. So what the fuck are you talking about with shared internet, you idiot? Even then, even if an apartment had community internet, then yeah, it probably wouldn't be the best, I guess, depending on the timing. I don't know. That sounds silly, to be perfectly honest with you. What Phil's problem was back at the condo is, one, it was a rat hole. How he obtained that rat hole is funny. The lore that I heard recently is he was feeling some chick, and she basically convinced him to buy her condo and ran off on that shit, thinking that Phil had a chance. That was hilarious, if it's true, of course. But it sounds funny either which way. One of the big things that Phil had a problem with was the fire alarm. That was great. Did an unboxing. Didn't even unbox the damn game. And had the fire alarm blaring. That was great. And then his neighbor telling him to shut the fuck up while he was playing Spider-Man or something. Some old dude that was like right next door that basically told Phil to shut the hell up. And he shut up too. Like a good boy. I don't know, Phil. That sounds like some That sounds like some unique problems, to say the very least. But outside of that, it's funny, you never talked about having community internet back then either. Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting deep dive. Let's continue.
I used to have, and all they'll do is give you excuses and blow smoke up your ass, and they'll never fix it. So I'll end up in an apartment complex where the internet's shoddy and things aren't going to go well, okay? Plus, moving. I mean, you're talking selling all the shit in this house somehow. I don't know where I'm going to have the time or expertise to do that. Moving from one place to another. You're talking months of work, months of suffering, stress, pain for two people here who are already overstressed to the point where we're working, you know, as much as we can to just make ends meet. Now you want me to stop that, to stress myself out more, to try to sell the house, to move into a smaller place and think it's going to go smoothly. Ultimately, what would happen is...
I'm sorry, Phil, you made a lot of fucking mistakes. Life for you at the moment shouldn't go smoothly. Kat's there because of necessity, not necessarily because she wants to. You're not necessarily the best option. So with that being said, she kind of has to just roll with the punches. You know what I'm saying? One woman doesn't sit there and make her exit in the middle of the night just to have another woman come in and think, oh yeah, this is a pretty good position, you can have it now. It doesn't work that way. So let's get that straightened out. And that, and to be perfectly honest with you, if what you say is true, it sounds to me like Kat put way more into this as of recent than you did. From a financial standpoint, I should say. She came there allegedly with a job, took her, I don't know, like a month or two to finally start that job. I'm hearing that you've changed the lore on that now. But took a month or two for her to finally start that job. And then realizing your financial situation, she ended up finding a better job, or she moved up to a better position within the job that she's in. It's one of the two. Phil changes the story up so much that it's kind of hard to keep up. Which is one of the reasons why I'm not that very good. I'm not that much of a professional. So yet again, Phil, which one is it? Here we go.
Yeah. For me, essentially, the real concern, this is my major concern. Do I care about losing the house that much? Yeah, I do, because I love this house. But, you know, I've built now a life here with Kat, and it was not easy for Kat to leave her previous life and move across the country in a place. She's just getting used to it. Like now, even now, she's stressed out. I know that if we had to move out of this house next year and get another place, it would be a nightmare. It would be, the streams would suffer. The streams would be way less streams, more stressed out. And, you know, I don't know what would happen. I don't even know if we even survive it because we're both stressed to max already. You know what I mean? If I were to sell this house, I'd probably be able to pay off a lot of my debt. But the problem would be, guess what? And this is another thing no one wants to talk about. When you sell a house, the United States government considers that sale profit. So even though I may sell this house and make some profit, the government wants taxes on that. So 1/3 of the profit that I would have made selling the house goes to the feds. So now I don't have as much money as you think I'm going to have selling this house. I probably can't pay off all my debt, and I'm not in a good position anymore, okay? So in reality,
what? You didn't think you were going to just get the money for free and just shy away, did you? Oh, wait. This this idiot didn't really sit there and say, oh, I'm going to have to pay taxes on that money. Yeah, you'd have had to pay taxes on that money. Every dollar you earn, you pay taxes on it. You haven't figured this out in the 36 years that you've snorted on this earth? Another thing, right, Phil, because this is interesting, is when we talk about this endless loop of begging that you're in. How is it that you begged these kids for money in 2017 and then caught an attitude around tax time of 2018 in the fact that you had to pay more taxes because you begged for more money, the money that you ended up getting, and you had a bit of an attitude about it? And then when we go into Emailgate, you sat there and was getting an attitude, not really an attitude. You sat there and tried to get over not only on the fan base, but on the government, kinda, by saying, oh, well, don't send me the money until after January 1st because I don't want to add that to my taxes. So in a way, I guess that's not really getting over. I guess that's him. I guess that's reasonable. and whatnot. But if he really needs the money, he might as well just take it now. Matter of fact, I'm surprised you didn't ask that guy to give you that money, plus what the potential taxes that were going to be on that. I think that guy was $9,000. Just so you could cover it. But see, here's the thing though, Phil. If he had sent you 9,000 plus, you still had to pay tax on the 9,000 plus. So now that tells me you don't have an understanding of how your taxes work. Or at least not completely. How are you surprised that the government's going to want a piece? It's the government. That's their job. Or that's their creed, if you will. Your creed is to snort and act like an idiot. And their creed is to get every bit of money they can get out of you. What the hell, Phil? Wow, man. And see, yet again, you can't tell me that he doesn't know that his fan base are kids. Because why else would you explain this? Only a couple of adults would eat this up. Easy. Easy. If they weren't already banned, of course.
All right. In reality, there's no easy answer to the situation. What I would like to do, this is what I want to do. Okay?
Well, there's your first problem. It's always about what I want to do, what I want to do, what I don't want to do, what I would... Adults don't talk like that. You do what you have to do. Period. Until you are in a position to kind of move around and do what you want. But see, that requires planning, that requires saving, that requires discipline. All three things that you don't have.
I just got...
But Jim does, and Tyrone.
Distracted. Why would I tell you guys about stuff I'm working on if it's not going to come out positively, right? I do have a condo in Connecticut I'm stuck with. It's a
what do you do that is positive? Tell me one thing that you've done in the last 3 years that's positive, Phil. You gonna say Project 7? Because that never got done. I'm looking forward to cutting you up on that one, too.
That's the condo I lived in from 2009 until 2014 when I moved here. I can't sell it because I got it for a certain amount of money. The mortgage is way up here and the condo's only worth way down here. I don't have $40,000 to pay to the rest of this mortgage so I can sell the condo. And it's a drain on my finances every fucking month. It's terrible. I am working towards possibly being able to maybe...
You said 40,000 and you're paying what? He pays between $1,250. No, he's paying like $1,500 a month, I think, on that. No, maybe he's paying between $1,200 and $1,500 a month on that. So he would have that paid off in 4 years. A little more, a little less, actually. A little less than 4 years. He would have that paid off. That's not too bad under reasonable circumstances. Huh. Well, then again, he's had the damn thing for over a decade. So, yeah, I guess. So he must have signed up for like a 15-year mortgage or something. Well, 12, 14. Let's say a 15-year mortgage. He'll have it paid off before that, though. But even then, he'll never be able to offload it. But then again, that's why when people are like, oh, you guys are kind of messed up because you want him to lose his house. First off, no one ever said we wanted him to lose his house. I want to see him work to keep it. That's what I want. I want to see him work to keep it. If he does lose it, oh well. He has a condo back at Connecticut to go back to. He doesn't want to do that because he doesn't want to do that. And then on top of that, he's got mommy and daddy that are sick. He has a room there waiting for him. Probably in the same dust bowl condition. Well, I'd like to think that his parents would have cleaned it up since he's been gone. But who knows? But he has a room at his parents' house waiting for him. Those aren't options to him because he doesn't want it to be options. I can't have a lot of sympathy for that.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I'm always working this stuff. Sadly, for 2.5 years, I've been trying and I haven't gotten any positive movement there. The bottom line is over there in Connecticut, the housing market is terrible. Here it's good in Washington. Connecticut, it's awful. It's some of the worst in the entire fucking country. So I can't find anyone reliable to rent it for me and screen people, find people who are reliable, who will actually pay and do all this stuff. I can't find anyone. Okay.
Don't they have like agencies that do that? I'm pretty sure they do, but whatever.
Okay.
What Phil's saying is he can't find anybody to do that for him for free.
So it sucks ass. It sucks total ass that this is happening. All that being said, 2018 was a great year. Content-wise, the streams are better than ever. Sadly, it was the actions of assholes. Again, fucking my YouTube channel over completely. Losing all these... Imagine if I were able to get that cheer sponsorship, if I were able to do sponsored streams every week, I get extra money every single week. But it's all taken from me, from these pieces of shit. These fucking pieces of shit who all they want to do is ruin my life, even though I don't know who they are. I've never hurt them. And it's funny because at one point, they would try to justify what they do by saying, well, Phil does this immoral thing and that immoral thing. And then you look at the streams this year, like, well, Phil doesn't promote negativity on his streams anymore. He stopped insulting people on his streams all the time. He's made all these positive changes.
Now, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why I'm not ready to make that announcement yet. But it's the same thing that Wings says now, too. Wings says that exact same stuff. Oh, Wings, you treat people like shit. Not anymore, I don't. Who did I treat like shit today? Who did I treat like shit yesterday? Well, Wings, what happened on Monday? What happened about last week? Oh, I'm not talking about last week. I'm talking about today. Who did I treat like shit today? Oh, Wings, you lie a lot. Oh, well, I haven't lied today. I haven't lied this week. Oh, well, what about what you said last week, Wings? Oh, that was last week, though. Why are you guys looking at old stuff? DSP does that exact same dumb shit. It doesn't work. You can't sit there and take advantage of people and not be called out on it. And you can't sit there and say dumb shit like, oh, I've changed. Oh, I've changed. And whatnot. You guys need to leave that alone. When he had that same behavior a couple of days ago. A couple of days ago, he ain't railed off on a bunch of people. And now, oh, I don't do that anymore. I've changed. Really? You got the memory of a goldfish? What's the problem, Phil? You don't change. You say that because you wanna feel like you're special, but you're not. Let's talk about what Phil's really changed, ladies and gentlemen. His surroundings, the quality of his at least the mic quality of his streams. The camera's still trash. His setup is still garbage. Only thing that's changed is some shitty soundproofing. Not even the soundproofing is shitty. It's just he's not implementing it correctly, like most things in his life. A mic that he probably fucking drools on more than anything, so that's just gonna need to get replaced soon if it's not already going out on him. What else? A shitty fucking wireless mouse and keyboard that's dying. A laptop that's even worse condition. A desktop that's still fucking limited and he doesn't know how to use properly. You know, this is the guy who used to build PCs back in the day, by the way. Don't forget that. I should have put that over there on the side, PC builder. Next time. I'm just saying. Just, I'm trying to list off, some of his accomplishments or lack thereof.
His streams are nice and chill. He doesn't do the drama anymore. So what's your excuse now? And now it's just, I hate Phil, so fuck him. I never wanted him to be successful. So there never was a justification. It was just nasty people who wanted to hurt me because they knew they could from behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. First off, you're the one who acted like an asshole, Phil. You're the one who took people's money and didn't come through on your promises, Phil. You're the one who basically looks at your fan base as walking ATMs. People called you out on it. Whatever other extras or whatever, that's between you and them, to be honest with you. Because in a lot of ways, not all of it, but some of that, you dared people to come get you. So they did. Now, let's talk about all those videos that you had taken down unprovoked. Let's talk about all those channels that you had taken down unprovoked. Let's talk about the people on your fucking dead, tumbleweed fucking forum that had planned to go off and take people's channels down and shit. What about that? That all happened on your watch. There's screenshots. All that stuff is archived. That this is what happened. And I don't see you coming in, closing threads. I didn't see you going in there and saying, hey guys, we don't promote that here. I didn't see you do any of that. So don't act like you're innocent. You played the game and you got played. Hatred, Phil, and a lot of people who say that shit. Hatred is deeper than some internet shit. When what true hatred is, Phil, is one of us has to go. Period. Like, that's what true hatred is. Like, one of us can't... Like, the planet isn't big enough for the two of us. That's what hatred is. If you don't feel that way about an individual that you supposedly hate, then you don't hate them. Because that's what real hate is. Hate is one of us needs to go. Permanently. No one feels that way about you, Phil. And the ones who do, it's not really hate. They're just irritated by the shit that you do. That's what you are. You're an irritation. You're an irritation that's funny to scratch because you're going to It's just like scratching a mosquito bite. You know you shouldn't do it, but you do it anyway. You know you don't like the feeling of the bite, But the something about the sensation is what keeps you doing it. You're no different, Phil. People poke you to get a response. They don't like the response, but they keep poking you to get another response. It's just how it works. Now think about that, Phil, and how much self-worth that you have. Think about how much worth you have on the internet. That must suck. And you did it to yourself. Because when you were on top and you thought you were the shit, you thought you were untouchable, so fuck everybody else. Did you forget? Everybody comes down. Look at Ninja. Ninja's coming down fast. He's not crashing, but he's coming down fast. It's what happens when you believe that you're better than other people. It's what happens when you believe you're on top. Here's the thing, Phil. It takes a special type of person to reach certain heights. What you did was nothing special. Let's be honest. You're at 180 something thousand, and whether you break 200,000 or not is irrelevant at this point. It's really irrelevant because most of the people who came up in your class are about to hit 1 million. You'll never get that. In another 30 years of you doing YouTube, you'll never hit that. That's where the real accolades are. Like, you made your little 100,000, so you got your little silver button. Then it was supposed to be 500,000. Then it was supposed to be 1 million, and then you climb from there. You can barely, you can't even reach 200,000, dude. And shit, when Tevin was watching you at first, you were on Strive to make some good numbers. He left for however long he left, and then when he came back, he thought you'd be at 1 million. You were right where he left you. Tevin's fault, right? That's what sums you up. So you can keep blaming all these people all you want. When you were on top, you could have done something with it. Especially during that climate. People asked you to change. People asked you to improve. And you didn't do it because you were like, you guys are fucking idiots. I'm here because I'm great. Why do I need to change for any of you guys? Fuck y'all. And they said, fuck you back. And the only difference was you actually got fucked. DSP News.
They just going to keep at it, keep being the bullies because they know they can get away with being bullies, and there's no way for me to get back at them with recourse. There's just not. Okay. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it at this point. I wish there was something I could do about it. There's not.
Bullies. I'm sorry, Phil. I never sent a group of people to lambast somebody on PlayStation. I never threatened somebody with, "Oh, I have your name, I have your IP, and I have your address." I never did that. I never told somebody online, "Oh, I'm gonna disjaw that person because of over a fucking video game review." I never did that. You did. You did. You're the one who basically took your sergeant in arms and threw his ass under the bus to Twitter or to Twitch without any real provocation. You didn't want to throw him under the bus when Kiwi Farms was like, "Yo, shit's about to get real. You better serve his ass up." But you wanted to throw him under. You decided to go ahead and make him fall on his ass afterwards because you thought Twitch was coming to get you. And Twitch didn't even care. That was you who did that. I wasn't the one who sat there and had 2 people build a PC for me and then shit on them because I didn't know how to work that PC correctly. That wasn't me either. That wasn't Tevin either. That wasn't Snorpernell either. I'm not the one who sat there and exploited almost every person who ever helped me to my advantage. People who I said I gave a damn about. People who I said that meant something to me. And then cast them aside the moment they decided to break off from me. Or the moment they decided to be like, "Hey, Phil, I'm sorry, but I have other things I need to do." I, Phil, didn't exploit my dead friends for content. When you can say any of those things that I just said, then you come holler at me. Now, let's talk about that recourse type shit. Let's talk about you wanting repercussions and you want to retaliate. What the hell do you think is going to happen if you do that, Phil? Like you said, Phil, we're all just brain dead, mentally ill fucking idiots, right? So who's to say that they're just not going to build channels and just start all over? I mean, some shit like that would make a person ramp up. And then what, Phil? You think just because Twitch keeps saving you, that's going to help you? You yourself are admitting that you can't get sponsorships because supposedly these guys ain't fucked you. Which we already knew that, but you lied to your fan base and said that wasn't the case. Now you're admitting it. And now you want repercussions? You want retribution? What the hell do you think's going to happen once that situation goes down? Who's going to be your next target? You mean that shit with Tevin? It's Tevin's fault? Throwing him out there like that? Shit, you still haven't even gotten the blunt of what was supposed to happen after you got Tevin and those other two fellas kicked off of Twitch. You still haven't even felt the real repercussions of that shit yet. And please believe it's coming, I would guess. And even if it don't, you're still going to live in fear that it isn't anyway. It's like when you punch somebody and they're like, all right, I want to punch you back. And you're like, all right, go ahead. Oh, I'm not going to punch you just yet. I'll punch you when I feel like it. You know that punch is coming, Phil. You know those punches are coming. But you want to talk about retaliation? You want to talk about reaching back at shit? Oh, you mean when you were doing your gay ops and you were trying to get people to get videos taken down behind the scenes? You were trying to get channels taken down behind the scenes? You talking about that shit? That's really what we're going to go with, Phil? You still want to play those games? Because do you not realize there ain't no loyalty over there? Just because those guys give you money don't mean they're loyal to you. They'll sell you out before they end up getting exposed. Oh boy.
So it is what it is. We'll see. What I'm hoping for is the best. I'm hoping that we'll have some generous parties who will step up and contribute and help. I'm hoping that just this month of December, this month of January, I can get through because of what happened in October screwed me over. Now I didn't work for a week and I don't even have money to pay the bills for the next 2 weeks. So I'm hoping I can somehow find a way to get through this. And honestly, I'm hoping that, between now and April, we get past the tax issue and maybe I can refinance this year. Maybe I can finally rent the condo in Connecticut and that'll help a little bit, if not a ton, at least a little bit to give me something additional that I need help with. Because my debts are only going up at this point because the rates keep going. They just raised the interest rate again in the United States. I think it's the 4th time now. In 3 years or something, they've raised the interest rates again, and I'm getting fucked again. Every time I seem to be getting ahead.
You're getting fucked again? You don't vote, right, Phil? You talk shit about people who advocate other people to vote, but you don't vote, yeah? So you yourself never actually, and like I said, I haven't been affected by any of those interest rates and whatnot, so I don't know, maybe because I don't put every goddamn thing that I need on a credit card. Sorry, Phil, having cash pays off at times. Anyway, so yeah, how is it exactly that you got fucked over again? I'm having a hard time computing all this. I'm having a hard time figuring all this out. Like you're in a rut, and it's not going to get any better for you. This isn't really hard to figure out. And it's only going to get worse. And even with the situation with the condo, you're going to have to put that money back into that condo because of the amount of time that you haven't been there. That no one's been there, to be honest with you. And you have a history of plumbing problems. And the unit's outdated. Did you ever think about maybe having to remodel the unit so it could bring it up to, and more importantly, getting it up to code? Like, that condo's basically a rat trap. You might as well just go ahead and keep that. You're going to pay that till you die. That's how that's going to go. And then the generous party situation. You still depend on people to come in and give large amounts of money for you to live? Then what's the point of you being a Let's Player? Because obviously that's not paying the bills. That's obviously it's not being successful, Phil. If you have to depend on generous people to come in with large amounts of money. This is perpetual failure in carnage. And does nobody over there see that? Alright, let's wrap this up. This is scary. This is really, really scary.
Here comes another outside situation to fuck Phil over that he didn't create. You'd be hard pressed and I'll be doing better than
already. There you go on that. That's special. That's real special. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there we go on that one. I am flabbergasted, to say the very least. That went on a lot longer than I thought it would. Too. I'm flabbergasted. I feel like I've been mentally bamboozled. There's no way you're this stupid. There's no way you're this stupid and that you're this incompetent. You run around and tell people getting a job is the most dumbest thing a person could ever tell you, and they're wasting their time recommending that to you. But you want generous parties to come through and give you large amounts of money so you can keep going. Oh, 2019 is going to be great. 2019 is going to be great. Ladies and gentlemen, Daddy's home. Daddy GTG's home and whatnot. And I will do my best to get back on the proverbial saddle and make shit happen, because apparently I haven't been gone a little too long. And this silly shit is just... I can tell Tevin's been on break. I can tell Tevin's taking some time off. Because this is silly. This is real silly. Oh, man. Alright. Alright, guys. I'm done for today. I'm going to go ahead and... There's some people I need to catch up on. I need to see what's going on with Mighty D. I need to see what's going on with Agent Proper, with James the Lesser, Theo. I need to check these guys' channels out, see what's going on with them. Argent. I'm sure Argent's put up some videos lately. I need to definitely check out what's going on over there. I got some binge watching to do and whatnot. I will see you guys for the next broadcast. This is 2019, ladies and gentlemen. Get ramped up for it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes. A GTG Network Productions. I am your host. Your proud host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, guys. End the broadcast.
You talk like a radical, but you live like a rich guy.
It's a perfect combination. The radical may fight the purity of Jesus, but the rich guy wins with the cunning of Satan.